a good day to you this day of your time as you create time to exist. How are you all this day of your time? Allow us to begin this interaction in the following manner. First, a statement of the purpose of the interaction. The idea that each and every one of you, being an aspect of creation, being an aspect of all that is, are also co-creators, have that spark, that desire, that drive, that momentum within each and every one of you that seeks to go from within to being manifested, as you say, externally in your physiological reality. So that you see, as you say, the fruits of your labor. The idea is to first understand that what we will be discussing today, though the words, though the technique may be somewhat new to your ears, maybe not, the mechanism itself of creation is very second nature to you, very natural. We will not be teaching you a new mechanism per se. What we will be discussing are ways to realize, to recognize the mechanism that you already use all the time, automatically. So automatically that you have been able to create the ability to forget that you're using it, because it is so smooth, operates so automatically. You do it all the time. To understand how you do it all the time, let us lay a little bit more of a foundation about what it means to exist in physical reality. Now, you all have begun to understand as a civilization that you generally speak of physical reality as meaning the solid matter, that which is perceivable by your physiological senses, that which you call hard to the touch, or discernible to your conscious outer aware mind. But you also know now, through your own discoveries, that matter and energy are synonymous, are in a sense manifestations of what you may call a primal energy of some sort, a primal idea, a matrix, a template. And this template gives rise to the concepts of matter and energy. Now, I would like you to consider a new definition of matter, a new definition of solid reality. Are you paying attention? Oh, all right. Just checking. Matter is a behavior. It is a behavior of creation. That is all. A behavior. Is not immutable. Is not unchangeable. Is not etched in stone, as you say. It is a behavior. It is an idea. It is a notion. It is a circumstance, a collection of circumstances that meet at a particular point, and as they cross, they reinforce each other, these notions. And as they reinforce each other in a particular way, you then perceive them as immutable matter. But it is simply a behavior of the universe. That is all. Now you, each and every one of you, as a personality, you know you each have a behavior, a style of presentation, a persona construct. There really isn't as much difference as you might think between what you might call a personality behavior and material behavior. Because both the personality behavior and the material behavior stem from the same template, that which is called consciousness itself. Consciousness, that which you label consciousness, is the very fabric of existence itself. That is the prime template out of which energy and matter and personality are built, are constructed, out of various conceptual components, arranged in various ways and then perceived and reflected as it is arranged. But it can be rearranged. You rearrange it all the time, because matter, in a sense, physical reality, is created only as a reflection of the behavior, of the ideas, of the notions out of which your personality is constructed. To put it simply, what you are is what you get. This is the only basic law of creation. What you put out is what you get back. Everything is vibration of the template, of the consciousness. Various frequencies. Because there is this frequency and because there is that frequency, you get what you call two different situations, two different circumstances, or, if you wish, two different objects in space-time, which is also simply a concept. Now, we do not mean to imply that these concepts are not real. We simply are saying that that is what reality is. It is substantial when you create it to be. It is very solid and substantial when substantiality is one of the components of the model, of the notion. But when you begin to redefine the concept of substantiality, of permanence, of momentum, of inertia, of continuance, when you redefine that idea, recognizing that it was a definition only to begin with, you can begin, at whatever pace you are comfortable with, you can begin to see what was heretofore considered to be the solid, unchangeable physical reality begin to, shall we say, dissolve a little bit, soften a little bit. Concepts of space, time, materiality, energy, shift a little bit, become interchangeable a little bit. Remember, it is one of the primary tenets even of your own physics, that matter and energy in that sense are intershiftable, that space and time are interchangeable, that they are all simply different manifestations of one primary concept. Therefore, it means any of them can dissolve back into that primary consciousness, that primary concept, anytime at all. The only reason you see continuance in your physical reality, one moment to the next, momentum, inertia, day to day, is because you create the idea, the concept of automatic continuance. It is a definition. That is all it is, a definition, but, big but. That is how strong your definitions are. As soon as you believe in that definition, as soon as there is no other choice for you, that's the reality you get. Instantly, no lag time, none, zero. So quickly does it manifest before you, around you, within you, of you, from you, that it seems to be not of your doing. It is such an automatic function. It seems to be coming from somewhere else. Therefore, you have been able to create the notion. You have been able to believe the illusion that you exist in a universe which surrounds you and that things happen to you in life. Instead of understanding that what you see around you is simply a metaphor for what you believe within you. And instead of saying that things happen to you, you can understand that things happen from you. Now, many times in your reality, you see manifestations that, well, you don't particularly care for. We are not implying that these things come from you so that you will say, well, then I must be a rotten scoundrel. I must be a terrible creator. I must be a very bad manifester. I must be a wicked person to manifest these things I don't want. If they come from me, if I am responsible for creating them, what does that say about me? All right. We are not bringing this idea up so that you should blame yourself in that way. Because the idea of judgment, is still the idea of more separation, more ideas of guilt, creates more time, more space, more details. The idea is to take it as your responsibility, but not as your blame in that sense. To understand that if you are creating everything, even the things you don't prefer, that gives you the clue that the reason you might be creating things you don't prefer is simply because of definitions you have been taught about what you think that thing ought to be. And in seeing it manifest in your life, and in knowing that you do not prefer it to be that way, you can then, with the new understanding we are discussing today, take it a step back and say, oh, all right, this must be from a manifestation of a belief, of an idea, of a notion, of a template that I no longer prefer. Maybe I bought into it once, maybe because I needed to survive, perhaps. Maybe I had to believe as this person believed. Maybe as a child I had to believe as my parents believed because they were responsible for feeding me, and if I didn't believe like they did, they would have kicked me out. I would have died. I had to rely upon them for sustenance and support, and so, telepathically, I had to buy into that family idea, that unit, that neighborhood, that city, that state, that country, that notion. Now, we are not necessarily saying that you will give all of these up, that you will change them all these notions, but you may find that along the way, you picked up a few bags that aren't necessarily your style anymore, aren't necessarily your exact shade, aren't your preference, don't hold the things you prefer to have them hold. This is because now your society has allowed you to get to a point in your life where they finally tell you, well, all right, I am sick and tired of you, get out and make your own life. Learn how to do things for yourself. And yet all that while, up to that point, sometimes almost to the very second, they were saying, no, rely on me, I will take care of you. And then all of a sudden you say, oh, no, get out, I can't take care of you anymore. You're on your own. But there is, in many cases, no preparation, no understanding that you have the power, the true power, to take any of the beliefs that they have given you and rearrange them in ways that befit you. The idea that is you, the person that is you. The person that is no longer just a reflection of your parents, no longer just a reflection of your friends, but you. And that is why many of you, all throughout your society, all throughout many different times, arrive at a point in life which to us, and I do not say this in your terms to put you down, but which to us is inconceivable. Not that we know everything, but this state of mind, most mysterious to us, that you, as a civilization, have so many members that could arrive at a point in life where you actually have to stop and look around and say, who am I? I don't know. Where am I? I don't know. What do I want? I don't know. These things to us are most mysterious, that you could ever arrive at a point where you would ask yourself such things. Perhaps in our civilization there are many things we discover that are new about ourselves. Perhaps we surprise ourselves by ideas that we did not heretofore think about. But we always know, not necessarily in specific definition, but in general definition, who we are as follows. We are aspects of the universe. We are reflections of the infinite. We are who we wish to be. So, all that leaves is answering the question, who? Who do you wish to be? What do you wish to be? Now, there is a very simple way to find out. We have discussed this many times with many of you. We never tire of discussing it because it is a most exciting concept. It is the concept of excitement itself. Many of you ask, well, all right, well, how do I know who I am? How do I know what it is I'm all about, why I'm here, what my purpose is? How do I know these things? If I have been fed a diet of ideas that is not me, how can I discover who I really am without a long, involved journey or process? All right, fair enough, very simple. At any time, anywhere, all you need to do is sit yourself down or stand up, however you're comfortable, Ask yourself with honesty, with clarity, and please, with relaxation, ask yourself, what, in my imagination, is the most exciting thing I could think of to do? What is it in life that excites me the most? Either immediately, right now, or if you wish, as a long-range project. Doesn't really matter. Whichever is more honest for you. What is it that excites me the most? What makes me tingle? What gives me strong emotional desire? Yes, yes, this is it. Yes, that's what I want. What is it that gives you that feeling of, oh, if only I could do this, I would be the happiest person alive? Finding that is simple. Because if you pay attention to the feeling itself, as you scan through the library of possible realities, one of them or a few of them will hit you with that feeling. You'll feel the twinge. You'll feel the excitement, as you call them in your world, the butterflies. Now, you may have many reactions at this point. Some of you may even turn away from it. Oh, no, 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 I could never do that. That's not possible for little me. I'm not qualified. I'm not experienced enough. I'm no good at that. I'm not creative enough. I really don't have the imagination for that. That's very childish. I would be a very childish person if I did that. I have to be responsible and act responsible. I have obligations. I have duties to perform, and this would take me away from that. Everyone knows I wouldn't be living a real life if I did that. You can't make money at that. That doesn't support you. How dare you have an idea to do this when you're supposed to be supporting your family? How dare you be so frivolous? How dare you be so unthoughtful? How dare you? I'll tell you how you dare. You dare because you know this, that whatever it is in life that does excite you that much is the signal from the universe, is the message from the universe that that's who you are, that's what you're all about, that's what will support you. Many of you, when you get to that point, who am I? You ask for signs, you ask for help, you ask for signals, but you always get an answer. It's up to you as to whether or not you have been taught to ignore the answer. A lot of you ignore the answer. The answer always is what excites you the most. Because excitement, what you call that feeling of excitement, is your physical attunement, your physical alignment to the concept that represents your highest ideal. If you align yourself and follow that excitement, you will be fulfilling your purpose in life at that moment. If it changes, follow it, flow with it. No one says it has to be a static thing. Change is the only constant in creation. Go with it. That's stability. Moving is stable. Attempting to stay in one place all the time on one foot, that's when you fall over. Movement is stable. Movement is balance. Balance is movement. Now, many of you are under the assumption that equilibrium means you just stay in one spot. Equilibrium is being everywhere equally, is being balanced as you move, as you create the idea of creation within you, as you expand, as you flow, as you grow. You follow that thread of excitement. And it is connected all the way through your life. And in many cases, beyond your physical life. Excitement is the path you're all looking for. Whatever it is in your particular life that really motivates you, at any given moment, with integrity, act on it. Let me digress for a moment. Because there's a very fine line in your society between the idea of finding something that excites you and doing something from nervous energy. Many of you interpret anxiety as excitement. It is a simple thing to do because anxiety and excitement are the same energy, but one from a positive point of view, one from a negative point of view. It's the manifestation of the polarity of the same idea, the same concept. Excitement, anxiousness. Many of you will do things from anxiety and call it excitement. Oh, I'm very busy. Very busy, yes, you see, I'm very busy doing what is I want to do. Very busy, it keeps me very busy all the time. When in fact what you're saying is, it keeps me so busy I can't really look at the fact that I'm afraid that I can't really do what it is that really excites me. The idea is to keep a watch on yourself in that way, not too hard, not too severe, but to be honest with yourself as to whether what you're doing is from anxiety, that you are running from something else, or whether it is excitement, that you are flowing it through you in an manner. When you function in an integrated manner, you realize a very important point. Very important, perhaps one of the most critical of all. Every single person, every single individual is already as powerful as he or she needs to be to create anything they desire in life, without having to hurt anyone else or themselves in order to create it. That's how powerful you are. Honest. You are that powerful. Everyone is. Because everyone is a reflection of the infinite. All right, some of these terms, they may not feel familiar. But the idea simply is to understand that when you function in an integrated manner, when you know you are already a whole idea, not that you will not learn, not that you will not grow, but you are at any given moment a whole idea anyway. You can move on things, act on things, do things without worrying about whether it is the right thing for you to do, as long as you understand that you are doing the best you can in the most integrated way you can, and the thing that excites you the most of all, you are doing everything you can do and everything you are supposed to be doing to get you to the next place. Keep it simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. Not at all. For the purpose of this workshop, we will break it down a little bit further, step by step, so that you'll understand how to take yourself from a place you do not prefer to be to a place that you do. There are basically three overall areas, three basic functions, three basic steps that are involved. The first one has to do with definitions and beliefs. The second has to do with emotional connections. And the third has to do with physical activity. That trinity, when balanced in equilibrium, will allow you to be a gateway through which anything you desire will manifest very rapidly, very clearly. Now, first idea, definitions and beliefs. Before we proceed, is everyone clear so far about what we are doing? Definitions and beliefs. What are they? They are words. They are concepts. They can be very multi-leveled. Sometimes one belief will ride, as you say, horseback on another belief, and you do not even know that it has come along for the ride. It is there because you have been taught to believe that it must be there, that this must go hand in hand with that. And therefore, no matter how many times, sometimes you attempt to do this, you also always get that. And sometimes this is what is responsible for what you call blocks. Now, there really are no blocks. None. Zero. You are never blocked because you are always creating something. You are always creating. There is never a void, a true void in creation. You already know nature does not allow a vacuum in that sense. So, you can create the illusion that you're not getting anywhere. You can create the illusion that you're not in touch with yourself. But you are still creating that scenario. And that is a very creative thing to do. So first and foremost, let's, shall we say, dissolve the primary block, what you would call the catch-22 block. And that is, many of you, when you catch yourselves blocking, will block yourselves even further by berating yourself for being blocked to begin with. Oh no, I now find I have a terrible big block. That must mean that I am simply the kind of person who ought to be blocked, who has been blocked forever. I've wasted a lot of time being blocked, on and on and on and on. All the ideas that keep you from looking at the idea you call the block. All the ideas that keep you rotating right in front of the idea called the block, but keeps you afraid to go into it. Or if I examine why I'm blocked, I'll probably find out that what I believed all along is true, that I'm worthless and I can't do anything anyway, and that's probably why I'm blocked. If you were truly worthless, you wouldn't exist. Because creation creates no worthless things, no pointless things. There are no extraneous creations anywhere. If you exist, you belong. You fit. A part of the overall scenario. You cannot exist if you don't. Therefore, first and foremost, be kind to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Treat yourself with respect. You deserve it. And you don't have to say, well, all right, I'll treat myself with respect because Bashar said I deserve it. I believe Bashar. I do not want you to believe me. I do not want you to believe one thing I say if you don't choose to believe it for yourself. If your beliefs and my belief coincide, that's because you choose to believe that what I believe happens to work for you as well. Not because I said so. Not because I said you deserve it, but because you say you deserve it. It won't stick unless you say it anyway. I can say it all day long. You deserve it, you deserve it, you deserve it. Until you believe it, my words are simply words. Now, I may feel greatly, very strongly about the fact that you deserve it, and I do. As a matter of fact, it's more than a belief. I know you deserve it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I have no doubt in my mind you deserve anything at all. But again, until you believe it, you won't see it. So the idea is to first of all give yourself, as you say, a break. Please. Give yourself a rest from the cycle of hitting yourself over the head. Now, when you come up with what you think is a block, allow yourself, without fear, therefore, to dive into it, to explore it. See it as an opportunity. Before we continue, I would like to remind you of something very critical. As we discuss these ideas, because of the upbringing that many of you have had, you will hear these words as philosophy. Well, it's a nice philosophy, it's a nice attitude. Those are nice things he's saying. Too bad they're not really indicative of the real world. I wonder what he means by how you actually go about doing these things. All he's doing is talking about nice concepts. About exploring, about not being afraid. Well, all right, that would be nice. I'd like to have that attitude. But having that attitude doesn't mean that that block is not to be feared. What I would like you to understand is that every single thing I am saying, as far as my civilization is concerned, is an actual physical concept, a mechanical concept. Because again, remember, the vibration you are is what you get back. Attitude is everything. Everything. Whatever frequency you give off, that's what you see in the mirror. That's what you get reflected back to you. Therefore, when I say, all right, see that idea and treat it not as a block, not as a fear, but as an opportunity, I am not just using that word lightly. I mean it in every sense of the term. It is your gateway. It is your doorway to learn more about yourself and to get closer to what you want. The more you turn away from the idea of that block, the more you are afraid to explore what is in there, the farther away you take yourself from what you really want. Those things are given to you by yourself, so that when you explore them, you discover more of who and what you are. Because if you think about it, logically, as you say, only by being more of who and what you are will you be the kind of person who will be able to do that thing you say you want to do. If you're not acting like that person, you can't be that reality. And we'll get to that later. But first of all, again, seize that idea as an opportunity. Rather than reacting, act. Dive into it. Oh, goody! A block. An opportunity. Oh, goody. I'm going to discover something new about myself now. All right. All right. First stage, definitions. Definitions. Now, as we're going along with this, all of you, as part of the meditation, as part of this exercise, get something personal in your life and use that as we go along. There will be time enough, and if there isn't time now, there will be time later, on your own time. But use it as an example. Have an example now of something you feel is blocking you, of a concept you feel that represents the opposite of what you want, that you feel is a block, that you feel you can't get past, can't get around, can't get over it, can't get under it, can't get through it. And look at the definition of what it is. Define what it is. It is this. It is I haven't got enough of that. It's I have too much of this. It's I'm not getting any help here. I have too much help here. I don't have peace and quiet. I don't have enough noise. Whatever it is. Define the main idea you would perceive as a block. That, of course, assumes that you have already decided on what it is that you would like to do. And again, just to help you, when I say find the thing you would really like to do most, the thing that excites you the most, I don't necessarily mean you have to have a lifelong project in mind. I just mean the next thing you would like to really do, really excitingly, moment by moment. If you feel that in any way, shape, or form you are blocked from that, then define that block now. See it before you. Now, understand again that all you are doing is discovering parts of yourself, because you as a society, in being so physically oriented, have fragmented yourself into pieces. You're not functioning as a whole being. Therefore, as you go along this path of self-discovery, what you're doing is picking up the pieces, pulling them back together, pulling yourself together, so to speak, literally. Your consciousness has been fragmented. Now when you find what you desire most, that's the beacon to get back to your centered self, your God-child self. In a sense, for your civilization, colloquially speaking, when you figure out what it is that excites you the most and you go for it, you're actually going, quote-unquote, back to your original state. Yes, you're progressing ahead, but you're actually going back to your original state, your natural state of creatorhood. So as you go back to your original state, you find all the pieces you left scattered on the path as you were growing up, all the fragmented beliefs, all the ideals that were beat out of you, and you pick them up and you examine them. Now, sometimes the reason when you find the piece you are afraid to look at it, or it appears as a block, is because, as we said, many of the beliefs you have been brought up with, many of the things that made you drop that piece of yourself to begin with, sometimes comes with little catch-22 beliefs riding along. Such as, if you pick that up, you'll be sorry. If you pick that up, you might find you really can't do it and then you'll be a failure. If you pick that up, and you do this, then you have to act this way too, and you know you don't want to act that way too. If you pick that up, if. Allow yourself, when you are creating a definition of what this piece is, this block is, allow yourself to recognize all the beliefs within it. Don't just allow yourself to lump it all into one thing. See it for all the different ideas that it is. Look at it from all different points of view. As an example, we have used this many times because we know many of you are focused in this area. What you call abundance, what you call being rich, physically wealthy. Many of you, oh yes, you say, I would love to be rich, I would love to be abundant, infinitely abundant, staggeringly wealthy. All right, that's fair. It is a way to be. However, beliefs that hitch a ride onto things like that sometimes you think are all one belief but aren't, are beliefs such as, yes, but to be staggeringly wealthy, you have to stomp on everyone in your path, and I don't want to do that. Many of you think that's one belief. To be wealthy is to be inconsiderate. Many of you think that automatically because that's the way you were taught. Many of these beliefs in your terms may be unconscious, may be subconscious. But as you grew up, you have been shown examples, sometimes physically, sometimes telepathically. See that, Sonny? See that, daughter? That man over there, he's stunningly rich. But you know what? He has walked over so many people to get there that no one likes him anymore. Maybe he doesn't care he's so rich. I don't know. That made an impression on you somewhere. And then you may have forgotten the incident. But then somewhere down the line, when you are attempting to be an adult, and you say, well, now, an adult thing to do would be to be staggeringly wealthy. And somewhere in the mind, it goes, yes, but how many people do you have to walk over to get there? And you don't even hear it necessarily because it's buried so deep, but something in you twists, and something in you holds you back from knowing you can be staggeringly wealthy. Because ideally, you don't want to walk on anyone. Ideally, you think, I'm a nice person, I don't want to do that. If that's the only way I can be rich, I don't want to be rich. So all the opportunities for being wealthy, stay away, because I'd rather be loved. You may be telling yourself these things all the time and not hearing them. That is why it is very important in quiet, relaxed, silent, personal thought and meditation to get honestly, very honestly in touch with what you really believe about this or that. What are your absolute definitions? Play the game. It's all right. It is a game. Have fun with it. Don't berate yourself for discovering that you may believe a certain way that you find distasteful or non-preferential. It doesn't have to be the way you are, but simply accept that it may be the way you are now. If you don't prefer it, then you can change it. But how are you going to change it unless you allow yourself to discover that right now you believe that way, unless you take responsibility for it right now? There's no way you can change it into what you prefer it to be, because you cannot change what you do not own. If you shy away from that exploration, no, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out that I might think I'm a rotten person for believing this. I don't want to find out that I have to walk over 1 million people to be rich. That's not an absolute, but you may believe it is. That might be another belief that's riding along, that you can't change the belief. That that's the way it is. All right, now you've found out, okay, you want to be staggeringly wealthy. Now you've found out that you have a belief that says you have to walk over 1 million people to get there. And now you also found out you have another belief that says you can't change that belief. You are not yet reaching true foundational reality. They are still beliefs. But they seem so grounded to you, so fundamental to many of you, that you don't even question them. You say, yes, that's the way it is. I look around and I see that all the people that have become staggeringly wealthy, they've all stepped on everyone to get there. I see that reinforced again and again and again and again. Of course that's the way it is. Look around you. Everyone who's rich has been that way. But you see, what you are forgetting is this. Every belief, by definition, in order to be experienced as real, has to be self-perpetuating, has to be self-reinforcing. So anything you believe is going to radiate out and is going to attract examples into your life that reinforce the belief you have, so that is all you will see. Of course you only see rich people who walk on other people because that's the way you believe it must be. Therefore that's your reality, therefore that's what's reinforced so that you can perpetuate that reality. Or, and here is the doorway through, or, instead of reacting, as we said, to that reinforcement, to that reflection, you can say, or, I am being shown all of these rich people who have stepped on everyone else, simply to reflect to me that is the way I believe rich people must be. Doesn't mean that's the way it is, it means that's the way I believe it must be. Now, wait a minute. If that is simply the way I believe it must be, how would I prefer to believe it is? So now I can see that instead of seeing all this reflection as an indication that I am stuck in that reality, it's now a reflection of opportunity. It is an option now. Now I am being shown what I do believe so that if I want to, I can decide to believe something else, because now I'm aware of what I do believe. Because I can't change it if I don't know what I believed before. So what you see in your reality around you, day to day, everyday occurrences, all the things that happen to you, what you see around you are opportunities being offered to you constantly. This is a belief. This is a scenario. This is what you now hold to be true. Do you like it? Do you want to change it? Do you want to keep it the way it is? Because you have been taught for so long that physical reality is immutable, when you are usually presented with an idea like that, you don't even question that it can really be changed on a fundamental level. And you accept it. And you find ways to settle with it. To settle for something that is not you. To settle for less. Well, all right, if I can't have it that way, that's the way it is. I guess I'll have to settle for this. Maybe I'll just be moderately wealthy. Maybe I'll just keep struggling to be wealthy. Maybe there's a chance I might get wealthy. But, well, you know, the odds are overwhelming. You will justify these ideas in any way, shape, or form you have to prevent yourself from feeling badly that you believe it can't be changed. Don't believe it can't be changed. That's where you settle for less. When you believe that you have to because it can't be changed. Because you are dealing with fundamentals and you can't change those. There is only one fundamental in creation. Just one! Wasn't that simple of the Creator? Wasn't that nice of the Creator? The Creator said, all right, there will only be one law. Not 10, not 50, not 1,000, one. And it will be the same law for everybody. Wasn't that fair? Wasn't that simple? Wasn't that nice? How much of a head start do you want? There is only one idea. And it isn't even really what you might call in your classical sense a law. It is the structure of existence itself. Simply put, it is. What you put out is what you get back. That's it. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to creation. What you put out is what you get back. What you put out depends on your definition of who you think you are. So, who do you think you are? Who do you believe you are? And sometimes you get that as a negative too. Who do you think you are? We'll accept it as an opportunity to answer. Well, I think I'm a wonderful creative being who can have anything he or she wants. That's who I think I am. Who do you think you are? Oh, wow, that's just nonsense. How childish. Oh, grow up. Join the real world. Get a clue. Wake up, smell coffee, and all that. All right. Fair enough. Remember that in responding to other individuals as well, We're not saying that because you may find that your preferential beliefs are different from theirs that you should berate or belittle theirs. Because in doing so, that puts you right back on the same vibration that you want to get out of. Remember, your biblical phrase, judge not lest ye be judged, doesn't mean you're being judged from outside. It means as you judge others, you become the vibration of judgment. As you become the vibration of judgment, you go to that realm of judgment. And as you are in the realm of judgment, all you can receive is judgment against you. It's a reflection. It's simple physics, simple mechanics. What you put out is what you get back. Judge others, you get judged. Keep it simple. So definitions is the first step. What is it you do believe about this or that? Find out what excites you the most. And take some time to find out what you believe about all the aspects you can imagine of that thing that you say excites you. You might find sometimes, again, that if you chose the idea from anxiety, you may find that when you do examine all the things you do believe about what excites you, that you may actually have chosen it from anxiety rather than excitement. You may find that you're not willing to really believe in this. You're not willing to really be persistent about having this thing, because maybe this thing isn't really what you're all about. Or maybe it is. And maybe the whole issue of why you're not willing to believe in it and be persistent is the thing you need to examine. But that's up to you. Theoretically, you will find out what it is by examining your definitions of life. All the definitions are your own, regardless of how many of them your society says are shared by so many other people, so it must be true for everyone. You do have collective realities, yes, but you agree to have collective realities telepathically. All right, I'll say there's a chair in the room and you'll say there's a chair in the room because we both want to agree that when I'm at rest I will appear to be sitting in what you call a chair. It's convenient. It's automatic. It's a definition. It's a symbol that we can both use. Maybe my chair's a little bit different than your chair. It doesn't matter. We both agree enough so that we can get along in one particular idea envelope or bubble. But remember, there are literally as many chairs in the room as there actually are people in terms of a whole set. In other words, you have your chair, but you are also creating everyone else's chair. Your version of everyone else in that chair. Your version of the room. Every one of you. So how many people there are, that's how many rooms there are and how many versions of all the chairs there are. Overlapping and intertwining. Agreeing with each other on enough points so that you can have what you call a common experience. A common experience is simply playing by the same rules of a particular game at one particular moment. Individuals that do not agree to share common experience with you, or at least not very much common experience with you, you call insane. They see things you don't. And sometimes you see things they don't. It doesn't mean that what they are perceiving is less real. It means that they are choosing with a higher percentage rate to see another definition of reality than the one you massively agree upon. Now, get in touch with your definition. Understand that when you do see the thing that excites you the most, that is the signal for who and what you are. Define the reality you prefer. How would you like your reality to be? If it isn't this definition, the one you don't prefer, create the definition you do prefer. This is the two steps of the defining process. Part 1, A and B. Define the reality you have. Define the reality you want. Now, this does not necessarily mean that you have to spend the next 200 years defining the reality you want before you do something about it. That's another fear mechanism. To stay, in your estimation, beyond the necessary time, to continue to break it down into further and further analytical definitions, never really doing anything about it. Because once again, it gives you busy work to do, gives you something to do, and you think you're doing it, but it's actually keeping you from doing it. It keeps you thinking about doing it, but it keeps you from doing it. Because again, you may have another belief that says, if you ever got around to actually doing it, you might fail. You might not succeed. You don't ever have to have that belief. If, once again, you remember, whatever it is that excites you the most is who you are. You can't fail at being you. It is the one thing you can't help but be. Where you, quote-unquote, fail is when you try to be everyone else, thinking that this being everyone else is actually being you because of what you have been taught to believe you ought to be. You should do this, you should do that. Then that, at some point in your mind, may be who you think you are. If I'm not doing this, I'm not being me. I'm not being the person I'm supposed to be. You. This does not mean you have to be selfish. Does not mean you have to turn to other people and say, I don't care about you, I'm only concerned about me. That's not what I'm saying. Because when, paradoxically enough, this is the beauty of creation. Paradox. The beauty of creation. You know you're dealing with your higher self when you're dealing with paradox. When you are most completely yourself, that's when you can help other people. That's when you can really care. That's when you can really love, really have compassion, really be of assistance. How can you be of compassion? How can you be of assistance? How can you really love when you do not allow yourself to be you? Who will there be to love if you are not complete enough in your own mind to do the loving? So paradoxically, being absolutely complete for yourself means you will be able to effortlessly be there for all other people and help them be complete as well. Now, everyone is complete, but you have a notion that you're not. And many times you put it onto other people, other circumstances beyond your reach, and imagine that until you have those circumstances, you are not complete. It is just the other way around. When you know you are complete and you act like you're complete, you have those circumstances because that's who you are. And that's what gets attracted to you. This ties into the idea of the second and the third portions of emotional identification and physical activity. Now, before we go on to the second part, each and every one of you become as relaxed as you can be, comfortable position. Close your eyes. And take 3 deep breaths. And know, just know, no matter whether your mind remains chattering or not, it doesn't matter. Your style is your own. Release all of the ideas that you have to do it this way or you have to do it that way. You will do it correctly for you. Just know, beyond a shadow of a doubt now, that as you take these breaths, keep breathing deeply, slowly, let it out, take it in. Feel it for what it is. Feel the breathing itself for what it is. It doesn't have to have any other purpose. Just feel it. And simply allow, not make, not force, allow yourself to know right now that as you breathe, you are breathing out the old definitions. And you are breathing in the new definitions, those that are far more representative of who you prefer to be. The old definitions going out that are representative of who you do not prefer to be. Without judgment. They served you in the past. You do not need the old definitions now, but they did serve you. They are still a part of you. You're not getting rid of them. You are simply letting them know their job is changing. And now, their new definition is to turn in the direction of who you prefer to be. Who you prefer to be. And as a segue from the section where we define our beliefs to the section where we emotionally identify, remain in the meditative state and begin now to actually visualize, to see the old you, and see the old you dissolving or coming apart or disassociating or breaking down, and see a new you with every breath in building up, crystallizing, clear and bright, transparent, brilliant, white light. See the new you. See now a picture of the you want to be doing the things you say are the things that would excite you more than anything else to do. See yourself doing them. See it. Take a moment and just play a scenario out. If you wish, if it makes it easier, as if you are watching a stage play. See you on the stage, the new you on the stage, going about a day in the life of the new you. What are the kinds of things the new you is doing? Pay attention if you catch yourself doing things that the old you did. Correct the play. Rewrite the line. If you said it the way you didn't want to say it, rewrite it and say it the way you wanted to say it. If you saw yourself doing it not the way you wanted to do it, rewrite that action and see yourself doing it the way you want to do it. It's all right. It's not a mistake. Just because you may have done it the way you didn't want to do first doesn't mean you're stuck with that. You are the playwright. Write a new play. Rehearsals are now in session. You are rehearsing yourself to be the character you want to be. So take your time. Just play it through. Sit back in your chair in the auditorium and see yourself on the stage becoming the new you, doing all the things only the new you would want to do. If you catch that you doing something that is representative of the old you, do not chastise yourself. Laugh. Let it go. Say, oh, I must be remembering another play I used to be in. And then say, ah, yes, here is the script for this play. This is now what I am doing. This is the character I am now being. And then see yourself being it. As you do this, more and more, you should begin to notice something happening within you. You should begin to feel how much joy you're beginning to get out of watching yourself doing the things you really like to do. Let yourself start to feel the joy of watching a good play, one that makes you laugh. It is all right, too, if it makes you cry. Nothing wrong with that. That's a release. But feel the emotionality of seeing the character change into the way you prefer it to be. Start feeling the vibration under your rib cage and your solar plexus, all the way through your body. Anywhere you wish to feel it, in your feet, in your fingers, feel the tingling. Feel how delightful it is to see someone that is doing what they love to do. Isn't that inspiring? Yes. Doesn't it just make you want to get right up out of the auditorium and do something like that? Yes. But it's all right. Stay there. Watch the play for a moment. Feel even more excitement with every new line, with every new action. It's all right. It's all right. It's a beautifully unfolding play. Beautifully unfolding. And now the play comes to its climax, and you see the characters standing center stage. And they deliver the last line, and the curtain comes down. And the curtain goes up, and they take their bow. Applaud if you appreciated it. And you can do it physically if you wish. You are applauding that you. All right. You are applauding the boldness of how that you, that actor or actress, that character allowed you to feel. You identified. You felt the compassion, the passion, the emotions swelling within you. Now that's being alive. That's feeling. That's being. So, Take that cue, that emotional cue you now just gave yourself, and just feel it for a moment. Just feel how it feels to be that you. Just feel it. This is the whole idea of emotional identification. Part 2, the second step. As you sit there and feel it, you remember back to the idea now that the first step was beliefs, identifying, defining the belief. And now you're in the second stage. You're feeling the differences between the old and the new you. You are feeling the way it would feel if you were the you wanted to be. Feel it. It is you. It is not an unattainable goal. It is not an unreachable concept. It is you right now. If you feel it right now, that's you right now. Right now. That is you. Take a deep breath and give a big sigh. One more time. And a third time, deep breath, deep breath. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Now stand up and shake your body out. Shake it out, shake it out. Loosen up, loosen up. Now, be seated. Now understand something. Oh, I don't say it this way. Very profound. You are a new audience. You are not the audience you were when we, quote-unquote, began this interaction. You are a new audience. You are a new you. You have begun to redefine the person that you are. Personality is your construct, is your creation. It is your invention. It is your device to represent an idea. It is composed of three things like a prism: thought, emotion, and belief. Change any of those, you change the prism. Change the prism, you change how the light passes through the prism and the type of spectrum you get. You are a personality construct in physical reality. You are consciousness representing itself in a particular way. You are an idea, you are a notion, you are a behavior. So, literally, take this to heart. I am not being, in this sense, metaphorical. Take it to heart. When you change any aspect of your persona, you are a new person, literally. Yes, I know. You'll run out of here and look in the mirror and say, I don't look any different. Although some of you might. Sometimes you get the feedback from friends. Maybe you haven't seen them in a while. They say, I almost didn't recognize you. You look so different. I don't know why. You look like a totally different person. And right there it can hit you. I am a totally different person. Really a different person. You see, again, many of you are taught to believe in the limitation of change. Change is a limited idea. The idea that, okay, well, I made this change, but it's just a small change in the person I always was. Change anything, you change the whole equation. You know your algebra. What happens when you change one variable? Is not the answer different completely? Of course. You are the same. You are energy equations. You are energy frequency variable equations. Change one component, one frequency, even an infinitesimal bit. You are a completely different equation, a completely different person. Now, do you understand what that means? It means anything you used to be no longer applies to you. Anything. It means you don't have to take forever to change something you don't prefer. It means that if you are willing to understand that any change is a total change, you can make an instant change, if you wish. Now, if you decide to take time, that's all right. It's a part of your process. Perhaps you feel there are certain things you don't want to miss, that you need to learn. However the path goes, that's the way it needs to go. Remember again, don't berate yourself for the way you are to begin with. Because the way you are is the only thing you have to work with to get to be something else. If you discount the way you are, you don't give yourself the tools to work with to become what you prefer to be. So do not discount what you are, first of all. At the same time, if you understand that any change is a total change, then you can be as different as night and day in one split wink of an eye. Literally a different person. Allow yourself, again, not to, quote-unquote, be dishonest with yourself and pretend, in the classical sense of the term, to be someone else when you know you still believe in a way you don't prefer. Do not ignore what your true beliefs are and try to gloss that over with a personality you think is the new personality, but which you know in your heart you haven't dealt with the old personality yet. There is a fine line in there. Be honest with yourself about whether you really know you're new or whether you really think you're new but act like the old person. That is the real clue. How do you still act? How do you still act? That is the third phase. Your actions themselves. We will go on to that again in a moment. But first, let us remain in the idea of emotional identification. It is a very, very, very strong tool, emotion. Listen to the word you have created in your language. Emotion. Energy motion. It is the engine. Desire. Emotionality is the engine of manifestation. Emotion is what gives the picture in your mind the energy to become physical. I'll say that again. The definitions, the picture in your mind of who you prefer to be, that's the blueprint. The emotions are the builders. They look at the blueprint, they take the material of your thoughts and they build it into the physical manifestation. Your strongest belief is what determines what they have to work with and what the house will look like when they're through with it. If you don't like the way the house is coming out, go back and change the blueprint. Let the builder rebuild it and come out with the house the way you want it to be. It's as simple as that. Emotions are the builders, the manifestors. All right, let's be equal. They are womanifestors too. The idea is to simply understand that they are the true movement. They are the bridge from what you call the concept into realization. Realization. So, it is of key importance that when you have a picture in your mind, a visualization of the you would prefer to be, that you spend some time feeling that. As you say in your language, getting into it, connecting to it with all of your senses, physical senses, all your emotions. Really identify with it. Take some time. How would it feel to be that person? Would you taste things in a different way? Would you have a different appreciation of something? Would you hear things in a different way? Would your taste in music change? Play it all out. Become thoroughly involved. As you say, lost in a daydream. Be, dream, that you. Feel it. Don't worry if someone comes up and sees a silly little smile on your face and a vacant stare in your eye. That's a part of the process. You are disassociating from an old idea, and you are reassociating to a new one. Now, there's a vital clue in those words as well. You don't have to walk into them in a negative way. Remember, disassociation, disorientation, disillusionment are literally what those are. You are detaching from an old idea and allowing yourself to scan all the probable realities you want. Limbo state. Some of you feel up in the air, nothing under your feet, foundationless when you're in that state, limbo state. It's a natural state of reassessment. When you judge it to be negative, that limbo state of scanning reassessment turns into what? Depression. It is actually more precisely compression. You are going to the center of your being where you know the answers are. And you're coming out with a new idea, a new personality. That's what the process is for. You don't have to take it as depression in a judgmental way. Let yourself go through it as a natural state. It is a redefining time. Use it as such. And then when you have redefined who you prefer to be, bring those emotions all the way up. Feel it as strongly as you can. Taste it, smell it, touch it, see it, hear it. Feel it with your heart. Feel it with everything, physical, emotional. Feel it. Identify with it. Yes, that's who I desire to be. Yes, that's who I am. That is who I am. Remember, just as an aside, that sometimes when you say that's who I desire to be, that can keep it in the future. Understand right now that when you feel that, that is who you are. You couldn't be feeling it if you weren't. So, allow yourself to take a moment now. Really feel the scenario. Get the scenario now of the thing that excites you the most and let yourself feel it as you see it. If you find that your body automatically wants to kind of twitch and go along with what you feel, let it. Do not restrain yourself in that way. Let your body move and sway, play it out. It is an orchestration, as if you were truly listening to music. Let the music of your soul vibrate and resonate within you. Feel the joy, the unbridled freedom, the passion and the compassion. Be a child of creation. Feel free to be whatever you wish to be. But feel it. Don't just think it. Feel it. As you feel it, take 3 deep breaths and lock it into your being. Lock it in. Stand up, and instead of jiggling and shaking this time, simply stretch. Reach as high as you can and stretch. All the way up. All the way up on your toes. Stretch.
Sure, we are just about out of time.
Yes. And now sit down. The third phase is the simplest in a sense. It is the quickest in a sense, but it is also the most powerful and the most profound. The third phase, physical action. Phase 1, identification. Phase 2, emotional attachment, desire. Phase 3, physical activity. That simply means if you have defined what you want, and you know how good it would feel to be that person, then act like that person. And what that means is, when you go out in your daily life, day-to-day reality, look at all opportunities through the eyes of that person, not the old person. Act on those things in the way the new person would. Act on the opportunities that present themselves to you most obviously, most simply, most synchronistically. Take advantage of the opportunities that are already around you by redefining them. Look at something perhaps in the way you used to and say, well, I never saw how that could help me before, but now that I am a new person, I see something I didn't see. If you see it, act on it. Physically act on it. If you have a scenario in your visualizational mind that you believe represents the scenario that would make you most happy, then as you did when you were on the stage, create to the best of your ability. Now, I mean this literally, physically. Create with props to the best of your ability that scenario. Find a space. Let a friend give you a space. Rent a space. Go to a space. Something that represents what you want. Make the props. Buy the props. Borrow the props. Do it physically, however. Something as a stand-in prop. Not just what you call non-physical imagination. Actually have some physical representation of the things that you would have if you were in that scenario as that person, and put them in the places they would be. As we used our example before, if you believe that you are going to be a staggeringly wealthy person, then you would have perhaps something like an absolutely beautiful piece of art on your wall. Well, if you can't go out and buy it right now, create a stand-in. Put it on the wall. Put it on the wall where you would put the other one. If you have to go through the whole process of papering your house to look like the house you would rather have, do it. Surround yourself with the physical prop. Play in it for a while. Even a whole day. Even a whole week. Who cares what the neighbors say? So I'm redecorating. I'm laying out some ideas for how I would prefer things to be. But surround yourself as much as you can with the actual physical props, with the actual types of scenarios, with the actual people you would be dealing with if you were the kind of person you want to be. And get used to it. That's the strongest physical factor. Because if you have those props around, you'll start reacting to them as if they were, in your terms, the actual things. And as soon as you start reacting to them as if they were, you are training your physical form. You are training your biological consciousness how to act in a new scenario. Soon you will know nothing else. You'll have a new habit. And when you have that habit, you'll radiate a new frequency. And as you radiate a new frequency, you will start to actually attract either those literal objects or representations of those objects, because there can be no vacuum in creation. And if you truly, with your whole essence, your whole being, your whole mind, your whole soul, your whole emotion, your whole belief, are acting as if that is a real thing for you, and your body responds automatically in second nature, the universe must provide you the actual other end of the interaction. It must. You will automatically attract it, and I predict you will be astonished at how quickly and easily you do it. But not for long. Soon your astonishment will be replaced by ecstasy. Nothing is too good to be true. That's what I prefer to believe. Therefore, that's the way my life is. Your choice. But you are physical beings. So when you've defined it, when you have identified with it, act it. Be it.
Bashar,
Yes.
I have a question about, instead of physical things, what if you wanted a higher consciousness ability, such as remote viewing or teleportation? How would you go about that?
All right. First of all, understand that those kinds of things, to some degree, are almost automatically grown when you do expand on every level. In other words, when you truly allow yourself to be free on a physical level, you will automatically find yourself being what you call more psychic. However, you can set up a scenario, if you wish, where you will feel what it would be like, imagine what it would be like to do those things, to have those senses, to have those abilities, which you do. Play the scenario through. If you can, get a friend to help you. We are not saying that you deceive yourself. We are not saying that you tell falsehoods. But the idea is that if you can have a friend simply take you through the exercise or the experience of confirming what it is you want, you will find that very soon you will begin to develop a sense of when you are on target and when you are not. So the idea can be, to begin with, at first, knowingly, in a pretend, sit down, imagine you're going through the scenario, say, this is such and such, and have a friend say, yes, you're right. And get in touch with what that would feel like to be correct that way. Find out what that vibration is. Then do a scanning, quote-unquote, for real, and when you feel that vibration, you will know you're right. You understand?
Yes, and how does it get to like a television crystal clarity? Like say you call someone on the phone and you just want the psychic ability to just see their face or inside their room.
What you must understand is that you may have many reasons for why you would want that, and you must be very honest and examine what the reasons are. Because many times you will find that when on the surface you think this is what I want, when you know the whole picture, you may find that if you had gotten it, it actually would have been detrimental to your ultimate desire. And perhaps might have been detrimental to the other person involved as well. So, you can expect that you can do those things, but understand that it takes two or many. You're not just doing it by yourself. It always involves someone else. It is a whole idea of information. And many times when your expectations are not fulfilled, that doesn't mean you didn't get what you actually wanted. You must be very, very understanding about why you want what you want. Because many times you may think you need it a certain way, when in fact that's actually contradictory to what you really do want. You follow me? So, go with the flow. Practice it as you will. There will be times when you find it will work flawlessly. There will be times when you find, in your estimation, it will not work. But understand, it isn't that that isn't working, it is that something else is. Found if you had actually gotten what you expected in the first place. You follow me?
The reasons for one thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And perhaps actually even more literal information in another direction. Because remember, information is the idea of psychic sensing. And information will take, like electricity and water, the path of least resistance. Therefore, you may find that it's actually more beneficial to the overall idea. Whereas at first you may think, well, I have to know it this way, but it actually may serve more people for someone later on to come up to you and simply show you the cover of a book that has the information on it. Because that may have actually been the path of least resistance, you follow me? Yes. And it may actually have served them by allowing them to help you as well, and then they've learned something. Understand? You have to look at the whole picture, not just one little bitty, well, this is what I would like to have happen.
Okay.
Does that help you?
It helps.
Well, thank you very much. Yes. Yes. Oh, right. Yes. Yes.
The thing that still troubles me, and I find myself striking myself.
Yes.
Is this co-creation.
Yes.
Let me paint a scenario.
Be brief.
The idea that you have decided
Yes.
who you are.
Yes.
That you like who you are.
Yes.
You like what you're aiming for.
You do understand that always changes, yes?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And when you always don't.
Yes.
That you've decided these things and they feel good.
Yes.
They feel positive.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
And so you find that you're attracting on that that frequency and that vibration. You're attracting other individuals to share these similar
Yes.
and you start to co-create.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you attract several individuals or
Yes.
one individual.
Yes.
A circumstance or a situation just doesn't fit into the
Always, everyone fits.
Yes, understand.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you. Can your imagination, or has your imagination, come up with a possible reason why that type of an individual could be there?
Yes. And let's say that you come up with a reason. And
Yes.
you go with that reason. You understand that perhaps this worthy opponent or this person who is being of service to you in some way, something you come to that understanding.
Or you might be being of service to them to teach them something.
Them,
Yes.
But as an individual,
Yes.
how does one, in conscious awareness,
Yes.
cope?
Cope?
For lack of a better word.
Cope. May I ask you another question?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Why do you buy into their reality to the point where you feel you are losing touch with the one you prefer?
I'm not.
Then why do you use the term cope?
Let me put it this way.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you know that I understand the fundamentals of all of this. And it's
Maybe.
Not maybe. It's true. It's just very clearly.
All right. It exists.
involve code.
Sounds like an excuse.
No, I'm asking a very specific question.
All right.
You have a situation that you co-created within it.
Yes.
It's a situation that has conflict within it as a component of it.
Oh, one moment. Are you feeling the conflict or simply recognizing that they are?
Recognizing the conflict that they feel within the situation.
Are you saying you do not feel conflict then? Or that you do?
No, that I don't feel conflict.
All right, so you recognize that they are feeling conflict.
Indeed.
Yes.
And yet, knowing that I prefer not to spend my time and that I don't desire to put my energy into that area.
Into conflict?
Into the conflict.
Yes.
Into the promoting of the situation.
Yes.
And yet recognizing at the same time
Yes.
that there's something that I also desire, an outcome that I desire, something that I feel is useful to one's worthiness.
Does the outcome have to come from them?
Not necessarily.
Well then,
I guess this is a question that, bottom line...
yes. Oh, all right, bottom line.
Go ahead, you can make fun of mine.
It costs you nothing.
I know. And it never has, and I thank you for that. The only area that I find that I come up against within myself
Yes.
in this lifetime
Yes.
that I love and enjoy most of
Yes.
is this area, and I guess perhaps it's going to be with cases, but it seems to be an area that has to do with co-creation. It seems to be an area that has to do with time, linear time.
What about it? Where's the bottom line you promised me?
What am I asking?
Yes. What are you asking me?
What I'm asking you is that does one accept that life being a process, being the moment existence that it is, the moment to moment to moment existence that it is?
Yes.
Does one simply accept that this moment I'm feeling terrible or frustrated or something about this, and this moment I'm feeling in full ecstasy,
Yes.
and the next moment I may be feeling this, and that does one simply accept that?
One allows it and then decides what one prefers. Allowance is not necessarily exactly the same thing as acceptance. The idea is that if you do, for some reason, for whatever reason, find that you are at one moment feeling terrible, then allow it in. Accept it only in the sense that you admit that you are responsible for creating that feeling, that you have accepted a situation on terms where your reaction is one of a feeling you don't prefer. Accept that, take responsibility for that, but then you can use it in a positive way. You can examine, all right, what beliefs did I have to have that reaction? Do I want those beliefs? What beliefs do I want? Have those beliefs, and you will feel differently. And perhaps next time, you will not be so quick to respond in the negative.
I understand that.
But,
But
yes,
I wish I could identify this dilemma.
what dilemma?
The dilemma that I'm attempting here to express. It seems to me that the life that you describe, for example, that you live,
Yes,
seems to me to be a life filled with joy, a life
Yes.
filled with ecstasy.
yes,
It's a life that I allow myself, that I find myself living within my own life many, many times.
yes.
And then there are these moments within my existence
Yes.
that aren't filled with those feelings. And those
All right.
experiences.
Now, one moment.
Yeah.
Do you understand that, not making excuses, your planet is still different than our planet? Your planet is still going through certain changes that our planet has long since ended. You understand?
I do.
You have agreed to be a part of your planet, otherwise you wouldn't be on it. You have agreed to some degree to be a part in assisting your people and yourself to change to those things, otherwise you would not be here at the time of greatest change and process. The idea is to understand there will, perhaps, still be times when you're going to be able to relate and identify very strongly with the idea of sadness. The idea is to let yourself feel it and transform it, not to ignore it or wish it out of your life. The idea is to help other people to learn how to transform it by showing them how you do. Understand? So sometimes it is actually of more benefit to someone else if they can at least see you go through the process of transforming it rather than seeming so aloof from it. You understand? You will eventually learn how to balance the idea so that it becomes ultimate compassion, so that another individual will not think you are shunning them if you do not exhibit the idea of the same emotionality nor identify strongly with them. They will still feel your radiant compassion and know that you care. But right now, your society still puts much in the idea of surface features. And if misery doesn't see you being miserable, it doesn't think it has any company. Now, that is not to say you have to be miserable, but you may still be required to show some of the outward signs to show them how to transform. It is like leading someone through a dark valley back up to the mountain. You are being a guide. It doesn't necessarily have to affect you as strongly as it affects them, but you may at least have to go through some of the motions, knowing that if you're doing it from love and from compassion, that it really will not, paradoxically, touch you as strongly as it is touching them in a negative way. You follow me? Does that help you? Well, thank you for being a guiding light. And at this timing, I'll experiment once again to express to each and every one of you our deepest appreciation, our deepest gratitude at being able to share the gift of your consciousness and the gift of our consciousness, to blend it together. Remember that what we have talked about is a practical idea. They are tools that work. Use them if you wish. You will see the results, I guarantee it, because you always are the creator of your reality, no matter what. We thank you, we love you, and we bid you good day. What time is it?
It's 10 till 0.
10 till 5?
Tell him, yeah.
Okay.
I did say to Mr. B. He was busy.
Thank you all very much for being here today.